Welcome everybody to another deep dive inspection video. Today we're going to be taking a closer look at Arven's Mabostiff EX, drawn by the very skillful Planeta Igarashi, who has illustrated many beautiful cards. But before I show you a few of my favorites, I want to take a closer look at all these exposed paper fibers that I'm seeing. Under this magnification, you should be able to see that this entire edge is just littered with paper fibers. And now that we've pointed them out, you'll be able to see them more clearly as we move along the edges of this card. The surface looks pretty clean, but we'll take another look at it with a black light later on in this video. Now, Mr. Igarashi is the man who brought you Rainbow Lugia, Rainbow Ultra Necrozma GX, and the spectacular looking Reshiram GX. As we move down the edge of this card, you can see more exposed paper fibers, but at least these corners are nice and round. Which is kind of a surprise, because I imagine it's the same blade that caused these fibers to be exposed. The bottom edge has some more of those teeny tiny fibers sticking out. And I know it's not too big of a deal, but since this card has a relatively low PSA 10 value, it's not really worth it to send it in to get graded. We'd want it to be absolutely perfect so we could send it into BGS and hope for that black label. Yeah, baby! Alright, going down the left side, everything seems to be nice and clean, not like the other side with a bunch of exposed fibers. And this edge just continues to be nice all the way through to the corners. This corner seems to be affected by that same exposed fiber issue that seems to continue on down the rest of the top. Now, when I first saw this, I thought it was just dust inside of the penny sleeve, but after a closer look, there are definitely some exposed fibers. The rest of the top seems okay. Now let's examine the surface with a black light. Now we're looking for any black dots or roller lines, and while this will usually fit the description, on this card it's just one of the background sparkles. The front of this card is looking really nice, and I'm really enjoying all the details pop out under this UV light. Now right here you can see this really faint but perfectly straight vertical line, and at first I thought it was a toe detail, but the lines didn't line up. The rest of the front looks pretty good. Now let's take a look at the back. The top left looks a little worn. No! As we move down the edge of this card, everything seems to be looking good.
Not bad, not bad.
You can see some exposed fibers, but that corner is shockingly clean. Bottom edge looking good as well.
Oh yeah.
And just one more edge and corner before we examine the back with a black light. Looks pretty good considering what we saw on the front. Last corner nice and round. However, this top edge had some whitening and the same exposed fiber issue. Alright, let's see what the black light shows us. Nothing standing out so far. But if you remember that line I pointed out earlier in this video, on the back of this card it's become clearly visible. And as we move on, you're going to see it clearly runs down the rest of the card right through the Pokeball. That's some pretty obvious damage that's going to 100% hurt the surface grade. Don't worry, that's just a piece of dust. So even though the defects on this card weren't too bad, it's not perfect. And with the low top end value on this card, it's not worth sending in. I would probably give it a final grade of a 9.